thank you, Lord, or God bless America? Oh, thank you. Good Shabbos.
Shabbat Shalom.
Are we alive?
We're alive and live, yes.
And we are alive. Well, I'm looking out at this beautiful congregation, and, you know, people are a little stiff, but I don't see that many people. And you know why? Because it's raining.
It's raining.
Yeah,
It
it's
is.
raining.
It's like
You
the first
see?
time we've been able to say that during the
It's
entire
raining.
pandemic.
You know, there's two reasons people do not come to temple. It's good weather and bad weather. You
That's
know,
true.
when there's good weather, they're out having fun. When it's bad weather, they don't want to drive in the rain. So we would like to get back and make that joke true, wouldn't we? But for now, we do have some wonderful events coming up. And the first one happens to be, yes, you heard correctly, in person.
Woohoo!
All right, January 30th, Cantor, what's going with this Tu B'Shvat Havdalah? Ooh.
All right, well, Tu B'Shvat is coming up. If you're not sure what Tu B'Shvat is, it's our celebration, our birthday of the trees. We are so grateful for our trees. They create oxygen. We're just grateful for everything that Mother Earth creates for us. And so we celebrate this coming week. And part of that celebration will be on the 30th. Is that what it says? The 30th at 4:30 in our parking lot. We're only allowing for 35 cars, so please sign up soon. We'll have a little Tu B'Shvat celebration and Havdalah. It'll be a brief 1-hour celebration together.
All right. So in our parking lot, but they have to pre-register, obviously. Wear the mask, the whole bit. But people will be safe in their cars, but they will be able to have a Tu B'Shvat program and Havdalah. Beautiful.
Yep.
Back to Zoom, membership committee on Tuesday night at 7 for trivia night. That's become very popular. And this month's theme is US history. Oh, no, U.S. history. All right. And more information.
US history, U.S. history, you know.
That was a little
similar.
rabbi joke. Very little. On CNT website. And adult ed continues. So Tuesday night, we have Rabbi Olshein's class on Reform Judaism, who we have been, who we are, and why we do what we do. Why do we do what we do? But
I have no idea.
You will find out. All right, in my class, people are dying to see. It is called The Jewish Way in Death, Dying, and Living. And actually, we are getting a great response. And the third and final class will be on Wednesday. For all these, you have to register in order to get the Zoom link. January 28th, these announcements are a little out of order, but the 28th on Thursday, what's cooking?
We are doing another Cooking with Cantor, Tu B'Shvat themed for Tu B'Shvat. We're making pomegranate cupcakes with Chef Heather Seltzer. So that'll be really fun because we need a little sugar. Some of us have been like on cleanses because it's January. Not me, if you are. But maybe you need something sweet. We'll be doing these pomegranate cupcakes in our homes on Zoom. So please sign up on our website. And then next month will be Hamantashen, so look out for that. These are really fun little classes to help me learn how to cook and bake because I'm not very good at it. So this has been really fun getting to know chefs around our community and teaching all of us how to be in the kitchen.
All right. And Tuesday at 7, right after her class on Reform Judaism, we'll have a social action study group led by Rabbi Olshein. And the first one will be in February 2nd. So look forward to that. And don't forget this Sunday, religious school is still virtual. And then hopefully in February, we'll have kind of a hybrid model. We'll tell you more about that via email and from the BIMA next Friday night.
Yes, and also there's a parent connection meeting or family connection meeting at 10 a.m. on Sunday on Zoom. If you're a religious school parent, you've received the email. I'll send out a text as well on Sunday morning. We hope that you can join us for that with a little help with our puppy Purim, which will be coming up next month already. So
Puppy Purim?
yeah, it's going to be pretty fun.
All right, we're not going to tell them what that is.
No, not yet, but we do need parents to join us on that call at 10 a.m. on Sunday.
I think it's going to be hysterical.
It is going to be pretty fun.
Yeah.
Fun and funny. Now, this is really important. So if you're watching on YouTube right now, you may not be able to if we don't hit 1,000 subscribers within the next couple of weeks. We're at like 800, so if you are a YouTuber in any way, even if you're watching on Facebook, please go to our CNT YouTube channel and subscribe. All you have to do is hit that little button that says subscribe, and then you'll be subscribed, which means basically you'll get a little ding when we go live, on purpose or on accident, which happened this week. But we want you to be a subscriber. So we want to continue to provide this service on our YouTube Live. So we need your help.
All right, so please subscribe. Now it's time for Shabbos. It's the 10th anniversary of Debbie Friedman's Yard Site, so some of the music tonight is going to be composed by Debbie Friedman of blessed memory. How about we introduce our services tonight with a beautiful Shalom Aleichem.
Page 142 in your Siddur. I need a Siddur. Rabbi, could you pass me a Siddur, please? Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bochem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bachuni l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
You take out your candlesticks to usher in the Shabbat for the mitzvah of kindling the Sabbath lights. Page 120, 121.
O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Bless all who enter this sanctuary, virtually, in need, all who bring the offerings of our hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
And so we offer thanks, O God, for this Sabbath, which unites us in faith and hope, for Shabbat holiness, which inspires sacred living, for Shabbat memories glowing even in darkness, for for Shabbat peace born of friendship and love. We offer thanks and blessing, O God. We continue with Lachadodi, page 138.
השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה. לך דודי, לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי, לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
We rise to greet the Shabbat bride.
בואי ושלום, עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה. תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה. לך דודי, לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
We continue on page 144 with the Chatzi Kaddish.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בגלה ובזמן קריב, ויאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך, לעולם ולעלמיה, יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה בריחו, לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמירן בעלמא, ויאמרו אמן.
We rise for the Baruch Hu, page 146.
Am I awake? Am I prepared?
We continue 149. This is an hour of change. Within it we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over?
Baruch atah Adonai Hamari Varavim.
As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mysteries beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery.
Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta, Amcha ahavta. Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shachbenu, uv'kumeinu nasiach b'chukecha, v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha, uv'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed. Ki hem chayenu, ve'orech yameinu, uvahem negei yomam v'layla, negei yomam v'layla. Ve'ahavatcha al tasir, mimenu le'olamim. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. Ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai echad. Baruch Shem kevod malechuto leolam va'ed.
Hear, O Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one. Blessed is God's glorious majesty forever and ever. Please be seated. We continue with the Ve'ahavta.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים Elohim lelohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem. Asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem lelohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem. Adonai Elohechem emet.
157. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together.
Umalchuto baratzon kibelu alehem, Moshe u'Miriam u'bnei Yisrael echanu shira, b'simcha rabba ve'amru chulam. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, Nora tehilot, o sefele, mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, Nora tehilot, o sefele, ונאמר כי יפאר אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
Give us a place to rest, Adonai our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours.
Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim.
Page 162. Did you hear that thunder?
Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et hashabat, la'asot et hashabat l'dorotam berit olam. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et hashabat, la'asot et hashabat l'dorotam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael, oti le'olam. Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et hashabat, la'asot et hashabat l'dorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. Veshamru v'nei Yisrael et hashabat, la'asot et hashabat l'dorotam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi shavat vayinafash, shavat vayinafash. Veshamru v'nei Yisrael et hashabat, la'asot et hashabat l'dorotam berit olam. Let me hear you. Veshamru v'nei Yisrael et hashabat, la'asot et hashabat
it's just not as fun without all the kids here. I can't wait. We continue with the tefillah with the Amidah on page 164. Please rise.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagipor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Ve'konei HaKol, Ve'zocher Chasdei Avot ve'imahot, Umevi Geula livnei v'nehem, Lema'an Shemo be'ahava, Melech Ozer u'Moshia u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh hakol, Atah Rav lehoshia, Mashiv haruach u'morid hagashem, Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechayeh hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim ve'rofeh cholim, U'matir asurim, U'mekayem emunato lishenei afar, Michamocha ba'al givurot, U'mido melach, Melech memit u'mechayeh, U'matzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah l'hachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim bechol yom yahalucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh. We continue in silent devotion through page 180. When you have completed your prayers, please be seated.
turn now to our Misha Berach prayer. Time for hope and healing for our community, really for our world. But we especially think of those in our own circle of family and love. We hope that they find hope and healing in their time of need, that those who are caregivers, that they are emboldened with strength and patience as they minister to those that they love. And we think of those who struggle with matters of the heart and mind, the struggles of addiction, that they will find also the strength for a new day of hope and healing. We include particularly these names which have been submitted to us: Edie Goldman, Joan Wolberg, Bob Seltzer, Shirley Brotbauer, Chaim Schnauer, Zalman Yehuda ben Hinda Yocheved, Brad Stonecipher, Zev Nadler, Lee Seltzer, Hillary Dumovic, Rob Dumovic, Shirley Ruiz, Susie Cerno, I think also my sister Dina. Can't hear their names.
Chris Fainblit, Cindy Carrig, Ava Walrala, Enrique Coro, Andy McLaurin, Tracy Ann McClellan Rosenbaum, Teresa Bertelli Ream, John Ness, Stuart Baker, Mindy Nanny, Andrew Kaplan, Melissa Sosin Novelli, Cindy Habik, Michael Kane, Karen Fleischer, Donald Schwartz, Marianne Troco, Arlene Kaplan, Karen Fleischer, Susie Cerno, Lizbeth Mendoza, Michelle, Kurt Plotkin, Rochelle, Harold Saperstein, Judy Klein, Susie Cerno.
And let us say Amen. Misheberach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Good Shabbos, everyone. Tonight is part 2 to the sermon that I began delivering 2 weeks ago. This week's Torah portion, Parashat Bo, is a culminating story of the interaction between Pharaoh, Moses, and God. In this portion, we learn about the implementation of the final 3 plagues and the consequences that followed. As a student of Jewish history in the Bible, I can't help but draw some lessons from this story and apply it to the political situation of today. Now, 2 weeks ago, we read how there arose a Pharaoh who knew not Joseph, And with that sentence, the Torah related how changes in leadership in Egypt meant that the situation for the Jewish community literally changed overnight. Forgotten were the reasons that the Israelites were invited by a previous Pharaoh to live in Egypt. Forgotten were the reasons that the Israelites were given the choicest land to live on, which helped make them very prosperous indeed. No, this new Pharaoh focused on depicting the Israelites as foreigners who could not be trusted. He painted them not as loyal citizens, but as people who came to Egypt and took away from the Egyptian citizens what was rightfully theirs. He went on to say that beyond being thieves, they also could not be trusted. And in fact, in the event of war, he suggested that they might even fight for the enemy side. Softening up the Egyptian people, promising an easy solution for their poverty, Pharaoh divided the society, so citizen turned against citizen. And that led to Pharaoh enslaving the Israelites. In my sermon 2 weeks ago, I talked about the theme, Words Matter, how the telling of lies in place of truth can lead to awful consequences. And while a country may think it can survive this type of muckraking, the reality is that it places itself in grave peril. In this week's Torah portion, we see Pharaoh, Moses, and God again triangulated. Moses insists that Pharaoh let the Israelites go, and if not, plagues would follow. Pharaoh did not agree, and 3 more terrible plagues followed, culminating with locusts and the death of the firstborn son. Pharaoh could have ended this, but his heart was hardened. His ego shaped his actions rather than his wisdom. We all know the story and what happens. Pharaoh's army is destroyed in the Red Sea, and the Israelites who escaped began their long journey towards the promised land. We know this because this same portion we are commanded to read not only this time of year, but it is memorialized at our Passover Seder during the Magid section, in which we are commanded to tell each generation of our children the story of how we were slaves and now we are free. In retelling this story for some 3,000 years, it has shaped our values, our sense of history, our place in history, and our relationship to society in general. We are taught that we know what it's like to be a stranger because we were a stranger in a strange land. We know what it's like to be the victim of calumny because we were. We know what it was like to be a slave because we were enslaved. Words matter because they lead to deeds that matter. But tonight I would add another quality that I think matters just as much, and that is character. The hardening of Pharaoh's heart is what denied him the ability to do what was right. It denied him the ability to see the truth, to allow for a peaceful resolution to a problem facing his country, and instead he went ahead at great cost to his society, with his own leadership in the end left in question and his economy in shambles. When the enslaved Israelites left, it was bad for Egypt, but it did not solve their problems. They were assigned a role in history that really the Bible from that point on is silent about. A once great nation now silent in the realm of history. But the Israelites' history is now just beginning as they learn what it means to govern and the messiness of governing. Not easy. And every time things would get tough, they would say, maybe we should go back. At least our tummies were full. At least we had predictability, and maybe life wasn't so good, but is it good now? You promise us the promised land, but we live right now amidst dust and dirt. It took a lot for that generation to die out, a new one to be born into freedom, to raise a generation that would be dreamers, who would understand what it's like to find peace in faith itself. You know, this week, as a new administration was sworn in, I think everyone, no matter what their political persuasion, had a sense of hope. That is our political system. One side wins, the other doesn't. But we dust ourselves off and we say, we forge ahead. We dream on. And we find a way to bridge our differences through a peaceful transfer of power. It was Winston Churchill who famously said, democracy is the worst form of government, except for all the others. While I may wonder whether this kumbaya moment will endure in our nation's capital, because we know it's known for division and intense political debate, I think one would have to truly be a cynic to underestimate the importance of the symbolism of what turned out to be a smooth transition of power on Wednesday. You know, nations throughout the world for a moment doubted us, doubted our system, our resolve, our values, and we lost the moral high ground, which we will take back as we rebuild, as we reconstruct, as we reshape, and as we join together. And so there is reason for hope. Hope that even a split Senate, well, both parties will realize that they need each other. Hope that with their very lives threatened, political leaders who were humbled and were enablers will find that they need to protect this fragile democracy. Hope that we can celebrate the fact that Kamala Harris, whether you agree with her politics or not, but being the first black woman, South Asian woman, to become vice president, shows a reflection of a side of America that I think many who felt left out now feel a sense of pride. Now, lest those of you who are listening misunderstand, I'm not talking about whether I agree with a Republican side or a Democrat side or one administration or another, but I am talking about the power of character. One may argue about policy and the best way to deal with the many problems facing our country. That is our way. But when we treat fellow Americans as the other, when we use words that smack of demagoguery to bully and intimidate, we have a problem. But just as words matter, just as words can hurt or heal, character matters also. It's not talked about much, but I think it is important to note that once the Israelites made their way into the desert towards an uncertain future, Egypt is rarely mentioned. It's only mentioned as a reminder of their hardship and of the perils of slavery. And when times get tough, as I mentioned, the Israelites forget, even in difficult times, especially in difficult times, and they say, I want to go back. That's how fragile it is to protect freedom. We can forget. We can forget that hardships can soften a heart and not just harden a heart. And so the Torah portion this week is a cautionary tale, and we will tell its story again and again and again as each generation understands and learns the lesson that we embrace in the Passover story, but now it takes on a new layer of meaning as we tell it tonight. You know, there'll be tough days ahead. The virus is still here, the economy, the racial tensions, the political divisions. This can't be papered over or denied. And there may be those tempted to forget that words matter and character matter and deeds matter. But we must move forward and find a way to find solutions together. I was inspired when President Biden said these words: politics need not be a raging fire destroying everything in its path. Every disagreement doesn't have to be a cause for total war. And we must reject a culture in which facts themselves are manipulated and even manufactured. We have to be different than this. America has to be better than this. And I believe America is better than this. As we face the contemporary plagues of anger, resentment, extremism, fear, demonization of the other, not to mention a very real pandemic, which has killed 400,000 of our fellow citizens, we must heed these words and find opportunities to come together. We must allow our hearts to soften and find qualities that exist within each of us: compassion, empathy, understanding. We must, in short, find our better angels and let them prevail. You know, Amanda Gorman, that young poet, she captured the heart of our nation when she introduced a poem that she wrote, "The Hill We Climb." The poem begins by asking the question, when day comes, we ask ourselves, where can we find light in this never-ending shade? And she answers it with these words. In this truth, in this faith, we trust, for while we have our eyes on the future, history has its eyes on us. This is the era of just redemption we feared at its inception. We did not feel prepared to be the heirs of such a terrifying hour, but within it we found the power to author a new chapter, to offer hope and laughter to ourselves. So while we asked, how could we possibly prevail over catastrophe, now we assert, how could catastrophe possibly prevail over us? And then she concludes, we will rebuild, reconcile, and recover. In every known nook of our nation, in every corner called our country, our people, diverse and beautiful, will emerge battered and beautiful. And when the day comes, we step out of the shade of flame and unafraid, the new dawn balloons as we free it. For there is always light, if only we're brave enough to see it. If only we're brave enough to be it. If only we're brave enough to be it. Dear God, grant us the courage to overcome our differences and the wisdom to see the path forward. Amen.
Understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms.
We begin to conclude our service on page 586 with Aleinu. Please rise.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'ateit gedula liotzer bereshit, שלא עשנו כגויי ארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
At this time, please submit any names of people that you are remembering for Kaddish or Yortzeit tonight.
So we say Kaddish for David Capel, Hugh Johnson, Matthew Fink, Omni Halper, Sheila Wolberg Cohen, Janice Judman, Benjamin Mayer, David Goldstein, Dr. Frank Gruber, Pernell Moore, Betty Robert, Ruth Golden, Jackie Luster, Sheldon Adelson, Kathy Sullivan, Betty Fox, Harold Waldman. Our Yortzites, Raymond Ackerman, Lois Berman, Louis Birnbaum, Mark Boren, Abby Braun, Walter Breen, Fern Chenin, Florence Cohen, Mildred Cohen, Esther Corbin, Eli David, Sophie Doctors, Dallas Ellis, Ken Falk, Herbert Foreman, Samuel Foreman, Marcia Friedmutter, William Gableman, Alfred Moses Gersler, Harry Glasser, Sylvia Goldberg, David Greenis, Ray Israel, Fred Jensen, David Katzman, Harold Lerner, Alvin Buddy Levy, Caroline Lewis, Natalie Marcus, Elizabeth McWinley, Edward Malinsky, Joanne Mullen, Madeline Nitzkin, Gloria Parker, H. Sam Prezant, Sydney Rogers, Frida Rubenstein, Heather Santer, Miriam Scheinwald, Frank Schwartz, Betty Silber, Nelson Werner, Cloud Wilton.
Carol Carter, Jolly Odence, Barbara Roberts, Ruth Golden, Don Hyrez, Fred Jensen, Stanley Holler, the 3,958 Nevadans lost to COVID-19.
We think of these and so many who have touched our hearts.
Irene Bachrach.
As we rise, if we're able, 598, to say our Kaddish prayer. Yit Gadol v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah v'yalma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayedechol Beit Yisrael magalav izman kari v'imru amen Yehei Shemei Rabbah mevorach le'olam omeil maya Yit barach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnasei v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shemei dekusha barichu Leila min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata Damiram bi'alma v'yimru amen Yehi shlomo rabba min shamaya v'chayim Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen Osei shalom b'mramav hu ya'asei shalom Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to all Israel, to which we say, Amen. Well, I know we have a special challah, and before we do the big reveal, I know we have Kiddush, but for the congregation, remind them how they can sign up for the challah.
Yeah, so I had to put out a plea this week because we didn't have anyone signed up for challah. There is a link on our website where you can click on it, and there is a Google sheet that you can fill in your name and the date and the reason, there could be no reason, but even if you, just because you want to, that you are going to either bake a special challah for the week or you can buy one, but basically that it'll be sponsored and we'll give you a big thank you during services. And I'm really grateful to Tricia Starr, who has not only stepped up to provide our challah for many weeks during the pandemic.
She's like our challah baker.
She's the challah queen of Henderson. I mean,
Okay.
it is for real.
Yeah.
It was a hobby that has turned into an art form for her. And when she bakes a challah, you'll see. I mean, they aren't just, it's not your average challah. Same with Lynn Cantor, not your average challah. They are a grand
Okay, but now you're intimidating
presentation.
people. What if they're like me? Can't we just
If
go to
you
the
buy
store?
a challah from Whole Foods or Trader Joe's,
Okay.
we will still honor you and say like what
And
an
it will be
awesome
just
thing.
as delicious,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
So
for sure.
sign up, sign up.
Yes.
All right. And now the Kiddush.
Okay. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Amen.
That is good.
All right, is the big reveal. I'm going to get it ready on the screen here. So you can see this cool challah, special for Tu B'Shvat, our holiday about the trees. This beautiful tree here. So awesome. And there's even little poppy seeds for the leaves. That's just so creative. So thank you for that challah, Trisha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Delicious as always. We want to thank Ricky for being here and accompanying us tonight. Next week's going to be our Shabbat in the round, and we'll have our musicians back that we haven't seen since I think November, so it'll be nice to see them
Oh,
again.
that's great.
And
Very nice.
don't forget that religious school is on Sunday. Look for that email that came today from me. If you are a parent that has all the details, I will also send out some reminders on Sunday morning so that you can sign into your classes.
And don't forget Torah class tomorrow morning, 8:45.
And then 9:45, Rabbi Olshan and I will be leading Minyan via Zoom as well. So
All
lots
right.
of stuff to look forward to.
All right. We'll see you next week. We'll see you at our classes. We'll see you at the Tu B'Shvat Seder. In fact,
No, we already had the Tu B'Shvat Seder.
no, there's one. Oh, it's Tu B'Shvat Havdalah.
And Havdalah, yes.
That's coming up. All
Yeah.
right.
Lots happening.
Lots coming up. All right.
And we're going to close with a prayer for peace, because that is our ultimate goal, is that we can live in peace in our country and our world. Ose shalom bimromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Ose shalom bimromav hu ya'aseh shalom